Alaikum, Pasha, the author of the Double Cross, and I want to speak to you on something that's very dear to my heart. During the month of Ramadan, Muslims are required to read a 30th of the Quran every day. The Quran is broken down into 30 30ths, so at the completion of 30 days of fasting, you have read the entire Quran. Ramadan is the month that the Most High begins sending revelation of the Quran down to the Prophet Muhammad over 1,400 years ago. The wisdom in the fast and the reading of the entire book is the discipline it teaches you in self-restraint by mastering your appetites and the knowledge you get from repeatedly reading the message of the Most High. Before long, it becomes a part of you, and you find yourself acting on what you've read automatically. Also, here, appetite does not just apply to the things that you eat. We learn by doing the same things over and over, including bad habits and the wrong things. Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy, and everyone that was indoctrinated with them at an early age still living in a fantasy world. But what if everyone that claims to believe in a book of the Most High was required to read it completely once a year? Imagine the effect it would have on their behavior and the world, instead of memorizing a handful of verses that they toss around every now and then. I imagine that the world will be a lot different. There will be no arguments over what's true or isn't, or what was altered or what's a lie, because everyone would see it for themselves. You wouldn't have 72 different sects claiming their righteous position over all others. In the case of the Bible, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Creator of God, the Angelics, the Baptists, the Roman Catholics, the Seventh-day Adventists, the Quakers, the Methodists, the Protestants, all claim their own space of righteousness, but yet they all study from one book, the same book, the Bible. And yet, they come away with multiple beliefs that contradict each other, and then they deny the righteousness of everyone else. That makes no sense. In the Holy Quran, Surah 102, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the mutual rivalry for piling up the good things of this world diverts you from the more serious things until you visit the grave. But nay, soon you shall know. Nay, were you to know with certainty of mind, you would beware. You shall certainly see hellfire. Again, you shall see it with certainty of sight. Then shall you be questioned that day about the joy you indulged in. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told the Muslims that they should think about the arrival to the grave daily, that they should plan for it, because of it, be conscious of it, because doing so puts the efforts made in this life, or the lack of actions in it, into a real place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that everyone shall taste death. So, look at all the well-known people that have tasted death already, whose life we marveled at, whose music we still dance and sing to. What we do in this life is the only thing we leave behind, both good and bad, for others to follow, namely our children and others we love. If we believe that there will be judgment, paradise, and hell, then nothing should divert us from trying to live the kind of life that opens up the opportunity for us to live forever. In a paradise the Most High has described awaits us for a beautiful struggle in efforts we make to live the life He has said places us there. Again, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that it is He that gives life and death. Now, if we see life created, if we have witnessed the entire process from conception until the child is delivered, if we have watched that child grow into a man or a woman of full strength, then grow old and die, then we have to bear witness to the truth of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, that He is the one that gives life and then death, even though many of us die early in many different ways. The bottom line is we live and we die, just like He says we will. And if this is true, then we should know that everything else He has said and promised will come to pass also. And we should prepare for it. In Surah 75 of the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, does man think that he would be left uncontrolled without purpose? Was he not a drop of sperm emitted from a lowly place, from the penis? Then did he become a leech-like clot? Then did Allah make him fashion him in due proportion? And of him He made two sexes, male and female. Has He not the same power to give life to the dead? This was sent down for those ignorant of the power of creation of life and of the process of the creation of life. Ask yourself, how is it that a drop of sperm contains all the information to give you 2 eyes, 2 ears, 34 teeth, a nose, a tongue, 2 hands, and 2 feet? How is all of that information inside that liquid? Your circulatory system, your lungs, and your heart? How is the development of these and your ability to get rid of waste from your body? Your ability to get rid of waste from your body, to urinate and to defecate, all clocked within that liquid, along with the process of growth and development, the ability to learn and to speak, the ability to design a car, build a house, and create the computer and the iPhone. All of that ability is inside that liquid, ejaculated from the male penis and from the woman's egg. Now, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Who could have put all that together other than something that is very intelligent and something that has power over all things? And don't stop there. Look at the sun, the moon, the stars, the oceans, the mountains. All are God's creations. And after reflecting on all of this, who would or could deny His power or His words? If He can create all that we see, then why would He have a problem with doing it all again? This is the double cross. Century after century, all the way back to the beginning of time, you find men that deny the power of the Most High and have set themselves up as gods. They commanded whole nations to worship them as God. The white man is not the first. He is the last. They were all destroyed. They all died. Their civilizations, or what's left of them, are now relics and tourist attractions. We hear stories of how they once lived and how they died, and someone will be listening one day to our story of how we lived and died. Our biggest problem is just what the Creator has said. The good things of this life the things that feel good, taste good, look good, have diverted us from the more serious things until we are laying on our deathbed. Then it gets real. Now we can see the angel of death clearly standing by our bed, waiting to take our souls. Now we can see the angels on the right and on the left that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said was assigned to each of us to write down our good and bad deeds. We see them lift the pen from the paper, roll up the scroll, then ascend to the heavens. Their job is completed. All that you have said and done is recorded and will be waiting for you on the day of judgment. Allah and His prophets and messengers have assured us of this. Look around you. Look at yourself. Do you think that God would lie? The question then is, why do we act like we do? Like we don't really believe? Because if we really believe, there would be no fornication. And thus, the world would not be full of children born to unwed mothers who are struggling to take care of them and raise them on their own. You see the wisdom in His commandment not to fornicate? If we really believe, there will be no senseless murder of our neighbors, road rage, innocent children, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, do not kill. Now, everyone knows the story of Moses. He killed an Egyptian and ran away. All this happened before he became a prophet and before he received the Ten Commandments, which do not kill on them. The reason Moses ran away after striking the Egyptian and killing him is because in Egypt, the land of black people, do not kill was already the law of the land. That commandment has been handed down from ancient times through the ages after Cain killed his brother Abel. And we still haven't gotten it right. So what does that say about our faith and our belief? For most of us, all of this is just stories of the past and are no more real than Santa Claus with the Easter Bunny until we reach the grave. This is the double cross. Assalamu alaikum.